Hari Rama, Rama Rama Hari Hari.
Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 1, Questions by the Sages. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Janmadasya yato anva
Janmadasya tu anayata vidatas
yataditarashcharthedva vigyah
Charthe
swarat
Suvigya Surat
tene brahmhridaya
Tene
adikavaye
Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Mayanti Yat Suraya
tejo varidam yatha
Vidmayo Yatra Trisargo Nisha Namna Swena Nirasta Sridasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi.
Om, O my Lord,
O my Lord,
Namah,
Namaha,
offering my obeisances,
offering my obeisances,
Bhagavate,
Bhagavate,
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Vasudeva,
Vasudeva,
unto Vasudeva,
unto Vasudeva,
the son of Vasudev,
the son of Vasudeva, Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva,
Vasudev, or Lord Sri Krishna,
our Lord Sri Krishna,
the primeval Lord,
the primeval Lord,
Janm Adi,
Janmadi,
creation, sustenance and destruction,
creation, sustenance and destruction,
Asya,
Asya,
of the manifested universes,
of the manifested universes,
Yata,
Yataha,
from whom, Anvaye,
Anvaye,
directly,
directly,
Itarata,
Itarataha,
indirectly,
indirectly,
Cha,
Cha,
and Artheshu,
Artheshu,
purposes,
purposes,
Abhigya,
Avigyaha,
fully cognizant,
fully cognizant,
Swarat,
Surat,
fully independent,
fully independent,
Tene,
Tene,
imparted,
imparted,
Brahma,
Brahma,
the Vedic knowledge,
the Vedic knowledge,
Hrida,
further,
Hrida,
Hrida,
consciousness of the heart,
consciousness of the heart,
Yah,
Yaha,
one who, Adikavaye,
Adikavaye,
unto the original created being,
unto the original created being,
Muhyanti,
Muhyanti,
are illusion,
are illusion,
Yat,
yet
about whom, Surya,
Surya,
great sages and demigods,
great sages and demigods,
Teja,
Teja,
fire,
fire,
Vari,
Vari,
water,
water,
Nidam,
Nidam,
earth,
Artha,
Yatha,
Yatha,
as much as Vinimaya,
Vinimaya,
action and reaction,
action and reaction,
Yatra,
Yatra,
whereupon,
whereupon,
Tri Sarga,
Trisargaha,
three modes of creation,
three modes of creation,
creative faculties,
creative faculties,
Amrisha,
Amrisha,
almost factual,
almost factual,
Dhamna,
Dhamna,
along with all transcendental paraphernalia,
all transcendental paraphernalia,
Svena,
self-sufficiently,
Sada,
Sadaha,
always,
Nirasta,
negation by absence,
Kuhakam, illusion, Satyam, truth, Param, absolute, Dhimahi, I do
meditate upon. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
It's so long. You read the first paragraph.
O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because He is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and He is independent because there is no other cause beyond Him. It is He who only first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Krishna. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual. Although they are unreal, I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Obeisances into the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva herein asserts that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all other are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. And Brahma Ji, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. In the Sam Ved Upanishad, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord, and if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to the absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means the all-attractive. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by great sages like Narada, Vyas and many others. In the Padma Purana, it is also stated that out of innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal one. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of the Lord, being identical with Vasudeva, are indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life. Vasudeva, or Lord Sri Krishna, is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya, as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The history of Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Narada Ji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutra, or the Brahma Sutra, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narad Muni advised him to write on these transcendental activities. described specifically in the 10th canto of this work. But in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night he sees the stars in the sky and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for a man because man has developed a consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer, as well as the manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time and then it is annihilated by His will. Therefore, the Supreme Will is behind all cosmic activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in the Creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. The modern scientist, for example, has created space satellites, and by some arrangement or other, these satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of the scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vedic literature, it is said that Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead, is the chief amongst all living personalities. All living beings, beginning from the first created being Brahmaji down to the smallest ant, are individual beings. And above Brahmaji, there are even other living beings with individual capacities. And the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being. And he is an individual, as are the other living beings. But the Supreme Lord or the Supreme Living Being has the greatest intelligence and he possesses supermost inconceivable energies of all different varieties. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brains higher than the man can reasonably person will easily accept this arrangement. But there are stubborn atheists who would never agree. Sri Vyasdev, however, at once accepts the supreme intelligence of the Parmeshwara. He offers his respectful obeisances unto the supreme intelligence addressed as the Para or Paramhansa Parmeshwara, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Parmeshwara is Sri Krishna, as admitted in Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures delivered by Sri Vyasdev, and specifically in this Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord says that there are no other Paratattva, Samam Bonu, than himself. Therefore, Sri Vyasdev is at once worships the Paratattva, Sri Krishna, whose transcendental activities are described in the 10th canto. Unscrupulous persons go immediately to the 10th canto, and especially to the 5 chapters which describe the Lord's rasa dance. This portion of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the most confidential part of the great literature. Unless one is thoroughly accomplished in transcendental knowledge of the Lord, one is sure to misunderstand the Lord's worshipable transcendental pastimes called rasa dance and his love affairs with the gopis. This subject matter is highly spiritual and only the liberated persons who have gradually attained to the stage of Paramahamsa can transcendently relish this rasa dance. Sri Vyasdeva therefore gives the reader the chance to gradually develop spiritual realization before actually relishing the essence of the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore he purposely invokes a Gayatri mantra, Dhimahi. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. When one is successful in chanting the Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahmanical qualities or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully and then attain to the state of transcendentally realizing the God, His name, His fame, His quality, and so on. Srimad Bhagavatam is narration of the Swarupa of the Lord manifested by His internal potency. And this potency is distinguished from the external potency which has manifested the cosmic world, which is within our experience. Sri Vyasdeva makes a clear distinction between the two in this shloka. Sri Vyasdeva says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of material existence is only temporary and illusory, like a mirage in the desert. In the desert mirage, there is no actual water. There is only the appearance of water. Real water is somewhere else. The manifested cosmic creation appears as a reality, but reality of which this is but a shadow is in the spiritual world. Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is relative truth. That is to say, one truth depends on something else. The cosmic creation results from interaction of the three modes of nature, and the temporary manifestations are so created as to present an illusion of reality to the bewildered mind of the conditioned soul, who appears in so many species of life, including the higher demigods like Brahmaji, Indra, Chandra, and so on. In actually, there is no reality in the manifested world which exists in the spiritual world, where the personality of Godhead eternally exists with his transcendental paraphernalia. The chief engineer of a complicated construction does not personally take part in the construction, but he knows every nook and corner because everything is done under his direction. Similarly, the personality of Godhead, who is extreme engineer of this cosmic creation, knows every nook and corner, although affairs are being carried out by the demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma down to the insignificant ant. No one is independent in the material creation. The hand of the Lord is seen everywhere. All material elements as well as all spiritual sparks emanate from him, and wherever and whatever is created in this material world is but the interaction of the two energies, the material and spiritual, which emanate from absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. A chemist can manufacture water in chemical laboratory by mixing hydrogen and oxygen, but in reality, the living entity works in the laboratory under the direction of the spiritual, under the directions of the Supreme Lord, and the materials with which he works are also supplied by the Lord. The Lord knows everything directly and indirectly. and he is cognizant of all minute details, and he is fully independent. He is compared to a mine of gold, and the cosmic creations in so many different forms are compared to objects made from the gold, such as gold rings, necklaces, and so on. The gold ring and the gold necklace are qualitatively one with the gold in the mine, but quantitatively the gold is in the mine is different. Therefore, the absolute truth is simultaneously one and different. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth, but at the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth. Conditioned souls, beginning from Brahmaji, who engineers the entire universe down to the insignificant ant, are all creating, but none of them are independent of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic wrongly thinks that there are no creator other than his own self. This is called Maya or illusion. Because of his poor fund of knowledge, the materialist cannot see beyond the purview of his imperfect senses, and thus he thinks that matter automatically takes its own shape without the aid of a superior intelligence. This is refuted in this shloka by Sri Vyasdeva. Since the complete whole or the absolute truth is the source of everything, nothing can be independent of the body of the absolute truth. Whatever happens to the body quickly becomes known as embodied. Similarly, the creation is the body of the absolute whole. Therefore, the absolute knows everything directly and indirectly that happens in the creation. In the Shruti mantra, it is also stated that the absolute truth, that the absolute whole of Brahman is the ultimate source of everything. Everything emanates from him, and everything is maintained by him, and at the end, everything enters into him. That is the law of nature. In the Smriti mantra, the same is confirmed. It is said that the source from which everything emanates at the beginning of Brahma's millennium, and the reservoir to which everything ultimately enters, is the absolute truth of Brahman. Material scientists take it for granted that the ultimate source of the planetary system is the sun, but they are unable to explain the source of the sun. Herein the ultimate source is explained. According to the Vedic literatures, Brahma, who may be compared to the sun, is not the ultimate creator. It is stated in this shloka that Brahma was taught Vedic knowledge by the personality of Godhead. One may argue that Brahma, being the original living being, could not be inspired because there was no other living being at that time. Herein it is stated that Supreme Lord inspired the secondary creator Brahma in order that Brahma could carry out his creative functions. So the Supreme Intelligence beyond all illusions is the Absolute Godhead Sri Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Sri Krishna states that it is He, only the superintendents, the creative energy, Prakriti, which constitutes the totality of matter. Therefore, Sri Vyasdeva does not worship Brahma, but the Supreme Lord, who guides Brahma in his creative activities. In this shloka, the particular words abhijya or swarat are significant. These two words distinguish the Supreme Lord from all other living entities. No other living entity is either abhijya or swarat. That is, no one is either fully cognizant or fully independent. Even Brahma has to meditate upon the Supreme Lord in order to create. Then what to speak of the great scientists like Einstein? The brains of such scientists are certainly not the products of any human being. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain. And what to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of the Lord? Even Mayavadi impersonalists who flatter themselves that they can become one with the Lord are neither avidya or swarat. Such impersonalists undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge, to become one with the Lord. But ultimately they become dependent on some rich disciple who supplies them with money to build monasteries and temples. Atheists like Ravana or Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of the Lord. But ultimately they were also rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared before them as cruel death. This is also the case with the modern atheists who also dare to flout the authority of the Lord. Such atheists will be dealt with similarly, for history repeats itself. Whenever men neglect the authority of the Lord, nature and her laws are there to penalize them. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam in the well-known verse, Yada yada hi dharmasya
Jnani bhavati bharata abhidharma dharmasya srijamyaham sridhamyaham.
Whenever there is a decline of dharma and a rise of adharma, O Arjun, then I incarnate myself. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 4, text number 7. That is the Supreme Lord, is all perfect, is confirmed in all Shruti mantras. It is said in Shruti mantra that the perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and He impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks, and thus the creative energies are set in motion, enact so many wonderful creations. An atheist may argue that God is no more expert than a watchmaker, but of course God is greater because He can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. The male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he could approach the intelligence of the God. But that is not possible, for each machine has to be handled individually. Therefore, no one can create as well as God. Another name for God is Asamurdhva. Asamurdhva, which means that no one is equal or greater than him. Param Satyam, or Supreme Truth, is he who has no equal or superior. This is confirmed in Shruti Mantra. It is said that before the creation of the material universe, there existed the Lord only, who is the master of everyone. That Lord instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge. That Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. Anyone who wants to get rid of the material entanglement must surrender unto him. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Unless one surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that he will be bewildered. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 4, text number 7. That is the Supreme Lord, is all perfect, is confirmed in all Shruti mantras. It is said in Shruti mantra that the perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and He impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of His spiritual sparks, and thus the creative energies are set in motion, enact so many wonderful creations. An atheist may argue that God is no more expert than a watchmaker, but of course God is greater because He can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. The male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without His attention, then he could approach the intelligence of the God. But ultimately they were also rendered helpless and could When an intelligent man surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely that Krishna is the cause of all others, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, then only can such an intelligent man become a Mahatma, a great soul. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Only the Mahatmas can understand that the Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of our creation. He is one of ultimate truth, because all other truths are related to him. He is omniscient. For him, there is no illusion. Some Mayavadis argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Sri Vyasadeva, and some of them suggest that this book is a modern creation written by someone named Gopal. In order to refute such meaningless arguments, Sri Sridhar Swami points out that there is a reference to the Bhagavatam in many of the oldest Puranas. This first shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the Gayatri Mantra. There is a reference to this in Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana it is said, with reference to the Gayatri Mantra, in the Bhagavatam, that there are many narrations of spiritual instruction, beginning with Gayatri Mantra, and there is the history of Vritasura. Anyone who makes a gift of this great work on a full moon day attains the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. There is a reference to Srimad Bhagavatam in other Puranas also, where it is clearly stated that this work was finished in 12 cantos, which include 18,000 slokas. In the Padma Purana, there is a reference to Srimad Bhagavatam in a conversation between Gautam and Maharaj Ambarish. The king was advised therein to read regularly Srimad Bhagavatam if he desired liberation from material bondage. Under the circumstances, there is no doubt about the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Within the past 500 years, many erudite scholars